essentially every single mobile subscriber, everyone that owns a mobile phone with an active service contract, that is equal to the addressable user base of SMS. And according to our figures in GSMA Intelligence, that's about 5.75 billion people, very rapidly approaching 6 billion people around the world. So this begins to give us an idea of the scale, or rather the potential scale of the SMS market. But we all know, for those of us who have been in the industry for a few years now, that in the last 2 decades, thereabout, we have seen the messaging landscape evolve quite rapidly, with the emergence of the OTT platforms. And essentially, many of these platforms have pretty much, to a very large extent, cannibalized the P2P SMS market. So today, if you think about, the two, most popular platforms out there, WhatsApp, in the rest of the world, and WeChat in Chinese markets, together, they both have over 4 billion active users, and that's quite a lot, right? Before they came on the scene, these were users who perhaps would have been using SMS for most of their messaging conversations. But SMS still remains a universal standard, and there are lots of benefits. It brings both to providers and also to users, right? Accessibility, reliability, and of course, there's an inherent trust in operator products.
So maybe I'm just going to share something like a personal experience of that. I've been to a very good conference last year. Actually, it was M360 Doha. And I was discussing with the regulators there and with the market. They were very advanced in terms of AI, obviously, generally throughout the economy, but also a lot into SMS. I was quite impressed. And I think with AI today, it's very important. And I think by looking at the participants, I know that I see some friendly faces from the regulation side as well. Thanks a lot for joining. It's important to take a stance on that because it's the foundation in a way, and the shield that operators have in order to remain competitive in today's market, and timing is important, right? Other IP-based channels are not operator channels, so they are, how I call it, I would say we would have visibility over them for the next years, but in the end, commercial terms are not something that the operator can decide on for the longest time, right? There's two parties in that discussion. It's not just the operator deciding what is the market rate and the condition that they want to go at, and that. So that's one thing. The second thing is performance in terms of financials, and here I've seen a lot of different ranges. But what I can tell you is that I've seen SMS in certain networks bring even up to 15% of EBITDA. So from 5% to 15%, although for revenues accounts for less, it's highly profitable, it's high gross margin, and very important to CFOs, right? So as from a cash flow point of view, A2P SMS is important, needs to be guarded for MNOs. That's a two-sided blade, right? I also believe it's one of the reasons which operators have triggered these higher prices, right? Because in the end, it is profitable, it is important, and if you're having challenges on other sides, you might look at A2P SMS in order to create more revenue, but it becomes unsustainable, right? So that's the conversation we're having today. And thirdly, it can be more than what it's currently doing today, right? So I think we're going to discuss into that, but today SMS it's just a channel, right? It's one size fits all, right? There's, for example, for local A2P SMS, it's the same price for most of the brands, for all of the use cases, and it doesn't have analytics within, right? Or other things that, for example, an OTT channel, an IP-based channel would have, right? So I think that's the interesting discussion today. I think that's the great part of AI, and something that we're probably going to discuss further on. How can AI make SMS more interesting, more up to date, and very worthy competitor to all these new IP-based technology that have emerged in the market in the past year?